Hello and welcome to another live broadcast from Force 13. My name is Nathan Foy. We're also joined today by Daniel.
Hello.
Hello. That was a quick introduction. Sorry about that. We're also hopefully going to be joined by Jason screen sharing as well. He did drop off the chat a few minutes ago, but hopefully he'll arrive back at some time soon. Obviously, it's been a difficult last 24 to 48 hours for Vanuatu and the islands nearby as well. But I mean, we'll try and get some information on what the actual scale of the damages over there. I believe Daniel will have some images for us as well to show, and all the information we can get hold of. But first of all, let's take a look at what the current information is on the storms right now, because obviously they're still going, even though they've already wrought a lot of damage. This is Cyclone Pam, obviously. You can see it's a Category 4 storm, still a high-end Category 4 on the Saffir-Simpson-Hogan wind scale. Winds of 155 miles per hour. Pressure is around 910 millibars, according to Fiji. It reached a low of 896. It's moving away from all of those islands now. New Caledonia on your left-hand side. The Loyalty Islands were affected by some heavy rain earlier on. But of course, Vanuatu had the worst of the damage. Port Vila had potentially winds of Category 5 status, and the islands further down as well. Eromanga and Tanna also had Category 5 winds, I believe, as well, or at least very close to that. Certainly a very destructive storm it was. We'll get some information on that shortly. We also have Cyclone Nathan. That's weakened, 50 miles per hour, but I think it may have gone up again to 60. I'm not sure about that though. I think it is still 50 miles per hour, but is expected to intensify still over the next few days. It moves over to the east and then heads towards the southeast, towards New Caledonia. We also have what's left of Cyclone Olwyn, became a remnant low yesterday, affected Perth with some heavy rainfall and some strong winds, according to Jason. And what's left of the storm is now reaching the other coast of Australia in the south, and we'll probably hear no more of that one. And of course, Tropical Storm Bavi, weakened not so long ago, but it has intensified again, and you can see now the storm in relation to Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands on your left-hand side. And it looks like it will go slightly north of Guam, it seems. So maybe one for Saipan or that area. 60 miles per hour, that storm now. Warnings in effect, none for Olwyn anymore, none for Nathan either actually in Australia, so we're left with Cyclone Pam. The watch zone extended as far as New Zealand not so long ago, and whilst that isn't the case anymore, I think it's only because they expect the storm to be post-tropical by then. I still think New Zealand may see some effects from this storm, maybe significant conditions going as a result, but the warning area extends over that region there. There isn't really any particular areas that are affected apart from places that have already seen the worst of the storm. And also looking at, if I've got it on my screen, what's this? Is this the one? Yes. Tropical storm warning is now in effect for Rota, Tinian and Saipan, and a typhoon watch remaining in effect for those areas as well as Guam, where they could see typhoon force winds on late Sunday afternoon through early Monday morning.
I've got some images here that I'd like to share. Any interested?
And that's from Vanuatu, is it?
Yeah.
Why are you looking at my screen?
I'm not. I'm looking at. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
So showing a few. Oh, now you can see. Now that was a house, right?
Yeah. Was a house.
So you can see certainly the extent of the wind speeds there. Sadly, it was pretty much expected when we saw the Category 5 rolling in. But obviously you hope for the best, but it appears that in some places the worst has happened. That's, I'm guessing, is near the centre of Port Vila.
I imagine.
Moving on. So that was another destroyed building. It's a mess, isn't it, really?
Mm.
And you can see all many of the trees, at least partially, defoliated as well. And there's a wave crashing over. I'm guessing that was before or after. What's next?
I believe I've got a video somewhere. There it is. Do you want to see it? Just
Sure.
really-
Are you sure you can handle 1080?
Yeah. I'm not sure how loud it'll be though, so I might turn the
Okay.
volume down a bit.
But yes, the worst has occurred in most places in the Pacific Islands now. So the storm is heading towards the southeast. Probably won't be a threat to any other places as a tropical cyclone, but New Zealand may see the extratropical remnants of this cyclone. You can see on this video trees that have fallen over. Obviously, heavy rainfall, strong winds. I don't know when this would have been in relation to the storm, but obviously no one on the road. To be quite honest, I'm not sure where this person was. But yeah, those are the images out of what I'm guessing is Port Vila in Vanuatu. Vehicles damaged, buildings damaged, of course. And the reason why you don't want to be out during the height of a storm, if winds are blowing at such a speed, which could have been up to 160 miles per hour, gusting to 200 in Vanuatu, you don't want to get hit by loose objects. And as you can see on the floor there, the wind doesn't look like it's up very much, but there are lots of loose articles on the floor there. Daniel?
Oh, actually, it's quite 3 minutes long. Should I play the entire thing or should I?
Well, I'm not sure whether we'd be allowed to, but
Okay.
get a fair idea of what the damage was like there in Vanuatu, where, according to the news, there may be dozens of fatalities at this time. Don't know whether you can get any concrete numbers on that, Daniel, at all.
I'll have a look.
Please do. Okay, well, whilst we wait for that, I wonder whether we could see anything else. Where should we go next? Just an interesting look of what the cyclone looked like yesterday. There's its eye. Beautiful but deadly.
I found an article about fatalities. It's killed at least 6 people in Vanuatu, UNICEF said.
UNICEF say yes.
Yeah, said today. Confirming first casualties from one of the most powerful storms ever to make landfall.
So that's 6 so far. I'm not sure whether it actually did make a landfall, but it was certainly mighty close. Close enough for it not to have any particular relevance. Obviously a very strong storm, 165 miles per hour when it passed closest approach to Port Vila, 160 at least when it passed the other islands further south, and still at this time the wind speeds are 155 miles per hour, which is around 250 kilometers per hour.
Currently, there's nothing from outside of Port Vila. It mentions a radio silence.
That's
a setting on possible deaths elsewhere.
That was an earlier picture of Cyclone Pam. Yeah, it reminds me of what happened after Haiyan in the Philippines, where it took a while for information to get out of places. We heard from Tacloban first, but not from other places until quite a significant amount of time later, I think, anyway. So Cyclone Pam is one of a few cyclones active at this time. I don't know whether we could get any news on what Cyclone Olwyn did ultimately. Probably not much, I wouldn't expect. And Cyclone Nathan also struck a sparsely populated area. The next place we'll be looking at now is probably going to be the Mariana Islands, where Guam and Saipan and islands in between are preparing for possible typhoon conditions and likely tropical storm conditions in the western Pacific.
I've got an image here of a plane that's been. Do you want me to just show it to you?
Yeah,
It's
please do.
from Cyclone Alwyn.
All right. Take your time. Okay.
Can you see it?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So that was from Olwen, was it?
Yeah.
Was it a It wasn't a plane accident, was it? It was an empty
I don't
plane.
know. It just mentions it being tossed onto the roof of the Shine Aviation hangar at Carnarvon.
Carnarvon.
Yeah, Carnarvon Airport.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, that would have been a plane that was not in transport then. But it reminds me of pictures that we saw from Hurricane, I think it was Hurricane Gilbert or one of those storms in the late 80s, which affected an airport and loads of planes tossed about everywhere. Jason's back with us. His internet's cutting out because of thunderstorms where he lives. Obviously, he's feeling the effects of Cyclone Alwyn at this time. But obviously, it's probably nothing compared to what people are reeling from in Vanuatu right now. The spiral band's just about leaving the country completely, still affecting the Loyalty Islands of New Caledonia just about as well. But the main centre of the storm, with its 155-mile-per-hour eye wall, is well out to sea now and is headed towards north of New Zealand, which it will likely pass as an extratropical cyclone. The time here is 12:11 p.m. UTC, which means it's 11:11 p.m. in Vanuatu and slightly earlier in Australia. Pam made landfall or passed very close to Port Vila and its associated islands around, wasn't it early hours local time, which would have been almost 24 hours ago. Now, if you have any questions on the storm, we'll try our best to answer you on any of the storms that are currently active. I'm watching the comments section at the moment. We'll answer your questions in quick time.
Oh, Dean Lands has a question.
Yeah, I saw that. I answered it.
Sorry. I'm not with it at all.
You jump on the questions when I've already answered them. But just to reiterate, Pam's wind speeds are 155 miles per hour. That's around 250 kilometers per hour at this time, meaning it's still a strong Category 4 storm on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale, and still a Category 5 storm on the Australian scale at this time. I'm just going to get up some floater imagery now of Cyclone Pam and how it's been looking in the past few hours. Here we are. So you can see how it's been progressing since it left the area. It was very intense to begin with. It's now continuing towards the southeast. And you can see all the black areas. That's where the strongest part of the storm is. They're beginning to fizzle out as the storm gradually wanes. Still very strong at this time now. And still some black areas affecting the easternmost parts of New Caledonia too. So we may still be seeing some heavy rainfall and thunderstorms occurring there. We'll also look at the radar imagery actually. If I can find it. Where did it go?
Too many tabs, that's the problem.
Plenty of tabs. The radar was on Matteo France's site not so long ago. And if I click this button, hopefully we'll see it. Yeah, there isn't actually much to see anymore from their radar. The storm is just on your bottom right-hand side. So I'm guessing there's a lot of cloud cover, but not so much rainfall, it seems. Dean Land says, why are there so many scales of intensities? Can't they just use the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale? I agree with you. I agree with you, Dean, but I think I think people, I don't know how it came to be because it was obviously long before my time, but my best guess is that people around the world were already using different scales. So when we started doing world tropical cyclone tracking, as many people do, these scales were already in operation, and I guess it's too off-putting to change it because many people, say in Australia, are only used to the Australian wind scale, whereas people in the Atlantic, of course, are only used to the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale. It's like if you imposed a universal scale, which was different from all of them, it probably wouldn't work out too well.
It makes things too easy as well if everyone used the same thing.
Well, nothing can be too easy for you, Daniel.
Oh, how rude.
Sorry. I apologise.
It's alright. Does any... would you care if I showed any Google Maps footage, or have you already showed some?
What footage would this be?
Not footage, I mean just a static image of the Earth.
Oh yeah, the one you used yesterday.
Yeah, it shows every bit of storm activity around Australia, so...
Yeah, indeed. There's still 2 storms active. Well, sort of. The remnants of Olwyn, there isn't much left of those, but we do have still Tropical Cyclone Nathan, which is located along the east coast of Australia, as Daniel's going to show you on his map now. There isn't actually much left of it if you look at it. It's just a little pinprick almost when you compare it to Cyclone Pam. Cyclone Pam, what a broad system that is. It's probably almost the size of New Zealand.
Is this where my mouse pointer is? Is this Cyclone Nathan?
That's right, yeah. And if you look further north, you can also see Tropical Storm Bavi.
Oh yeah.
North there. That's quite unmissable too.
That's due to intensify, isn't it?
Slightly.
Yeah.
We still don't know. The jury's still out whether it will become a typhoon or not. And further, whether it will make a landfall significantly in the Philippines in the next 6 days. But obviously that remains to be seen. There's Cyclone Pam. Can we zoom in on that at all?
It goes transparent, but this is as close as we can get. Actually, I've read something before saying that Cyclone Nathan could be a threat to the what are the islands called that Cyclone Pam affected?
New Caledonia Islands.
Yeah, that cyclone.
I wouldn't say it's a threat to Vanuatu. I would say it's a potential threat to New Caledonia, where it could strike as a hurricane force storm, possibly.
Because I was a bit dubious reading that because of the size of the storm at the moment, and it's likely to dissipate, isn't it?
No, it's not. I wouldn't be, because it's still likely to intensify, even though it's defied that forecast so far.
Yeah.
Once it starts to move, that's the key, really. If it stays right where it is, and it is going to weaken. But if it is going to move out towards the east, if it does that, then it will begin to intensify. What we're looking at right now is a floater image of Cyclone Pam. Sort of like a donut shape around the eye it had to begin with, spirally. But it's beginning to lose that just a little bit now, as it begins to lose its strength as it moves naturally towards the pole. And its wind speed, if you've just joined us, 155 miles per hour still in affected Vanuatu, with winds of over 160 miles per hour in some places, gusting, I should imagine, to 200 miles per hour or higher, 320 kilometers per hour. Mind-blowing almost. 896 millibars was its lowest pressure, making it the second strongest storm ever in the South Pacific, and I think the 4th strongest in the Southern Hemisphere. And I wonder whether it makes it into the top 50 strongest storms ever. I'll certainly find that out for you, actually, because you can find out such data on the Force 13 website, I think. I hope so, anyway, because I'm advertising it now.
Space 13.
Not quite.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Space Station 13.
No, no, no.
Oh, what were you advertising? I didn't catch it. I was too absorbed into something
Yeah,
else.
you don't catch much.
No, because I've only got a one-track mind. I can only tend to focus on one thing at a time.
Hmm.
Um, what were you talking about?
I'm just calculating how
All
strong
right.
Cyclone Pam was. If you go by central air pressure, Cyclone Pam was, I think, the 38th strongest storm on record in the world, behind mostly those Western Pacific storms. If you go by wind speed, let me figure that one out. It's going to be much lower in the table, actually, because a lot of storms manage to reach 165 miles per hour or more. But nonetheless, Cyclone Pam, a very strong storm. It seems to have caused a lot of damage, and it appears that unfortunately lives have been lost during the progression of this cyclone through Vanuatu. We'll keep you up to date as soon as we get any news on that throughout our broadcast from 12 till 1 this afternoon. We may also run another one this evening. We'll also be running some updates on the storm, on all the storms this evening as well.
Mm.
Jason's showing us his own image now as well, showing another perspective on Cyclone Pam. It extends quite a bit towards the south, so New Zealand may already be not so far away from experiencing some inclement conditions. You can see the leading edge of the storm towards the south there as well. Actually, that leading edge there has already reached Auckland. So, but the rest of the storm, of course, is still quite a distance away just yet. It will arrive there, I'd imagine, in around 24 or 36 hours.
The colours on this signify air pressure, don't they? No, heat. Well, I can't see a key anywhere, just infrared rainbow, IR rainbow.
Right, yeah.
Is that the heat? What's so funny?
Nothing, nothing, nothing.
Air pressure then.
Is this the rain
Wind speed.
that we're looking at right now?
I don't know.
It certainly looks radarish. But you can see the worst of the storm still in the northern part, but that at the moment is over water, so hopefully won't be affecting anyone. Extending a little slither of yellow area, extending almost as far as Noumea, the capital of New Caledonia. I think it's just past, ever so slightly south of that now. Certainly the radar imagery from New Caledonia doesn't show much at this point. And there's all our perspectives on the storm. You can see dry air over the eastern part of Australia at this time. Is that affecting Cyclone Nathan by any chance? Maybe somewhat. Certainly not too far away. See quite a contrast in conditions over not too much distance actually as well when you look along that line. Almost loosely following the Australian continent. I don't know whether you could show us what's left of Olwyn as well, Jason.
Is it time to play Guess the Storm yet?
No.
No.
It's a serious situation,
Yeah.
Daniel.
No, I was just thinking that. Could play that tonight or another day.
Oh,
Or
it's
it could even.
looking slightly dry in Perth, Jason. You can see most of Olwyn. It's towards the south there now, hugging the coast of Australia. What's left of the storm, of course, which isn't really all that much. And there's I'm guessing that's rainfall there as well. Some of it occurring along the coast there, but not too many areas being affected by that. So Olwyn is pretty much done. If you've got any questions for us, you can send them in at any time. We'll answer them as quick as we can. We'll keep you updated on everything going on. The reason why we don't get many questions, Daniel, is because we always answer them before they're asked.
Yeah. About the Guess the Storm thing, that could be a feature on Force 13 Extra, couldn't it?
It could indeed.
Yeah. I might consider doing that then.
It could comprise a game show, but we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah.
Here's the view of all the storms from Jason's image. And the two most apparent things there you can see are, of course, Cyclone Pam, but also Tropical Storm Bavi, which is appears to be rather intense near the centre as well. So Dean asks us, where could our next storm be? That is something that we've not yet looked at. We should check out the models on that. We're still looking to see what Cyclone Tropical Storm Bavi actually does. But yeah, we'll take a look and see if the models predict anything going on right now anywhere around the world. In March, so we're not too far from the end of the season in the Southern Hemisphere. Still plenty of time for more storms to form. So first let's look at what's going on in the Southwest Indian Ocean. Whether there's any storms forming, let's see. As the loop goes through here, a few low pressure systems, some lows occurring in the South Atlantic, probably not tropical, but you never know. After the season that we've had so far, 2 named storms in the South Atlantic this season, believe it or not. But in the South Indian Ocean, Southwest at least, nothing at all going on there by the looks of things. So looks like it's going to have a quiet 5 days over there, even though we've had an active start down there. We had 2 Category 5 storms, of course, Bansi and Eunice, and the third one of the year so far occurring in the South Pacific, which is where we're looking at next. So there you can see Pam and Nathan. What's left of Allwind trekking southwards, south of Australia. You can see Allwind there. Pam affecting New Zealand's North Island quite significantly by the looks of things, just off the coast and then moving towards the south. Nathan, on the other hand, according to the GFS model here, is going to stay along the coast of Australia. So we may well see some more warnings coming into effect. And look at that, a landfall further south. Not too far, if I'm not mistaken, not too far from Cairns. And then moving inland, and then over the Gulf of Carpentaria, where it could well reform. This could be one of the longest cyclones ever. We also see near the end of that loop there another low pressure system forming on the 23rd. That could be another tropical cyclone as well, albeit it appears fairly weak. Will it affect Samoa? Probably a little bit as a precursor, but it doesn't appear that Samoa will see too much from that if it forms as planned. But that is quite a way. That is quite far out, so it may not be the case. Same with Nathan as well. There's another view on what Nathan may well do. The NavGem taking it east, GFS taking it south, and then west. And by 240 hours into the Northern Territory, where it may most likely dissipate if it moves inland there. And Daniel says Nathan is small and thank you, Daniel.
I didn't mean that, Nathan.
Lots of there's been lots of rainfall over there. So Nathan's been a very wet storm, even if it's not been particularly intense.
At least it'll help the plants.
But not insignificant. Not insignificant.
Yeah, I was joking.
Dean, to find the model loops, the place you start at is NCEP. If you want to look at those loops. and I think you should be able to find it just from there, ncep.noaa.gov, and there should be a link on the side for models. I'm guessing you click the model analyses and guidance button. I think that's how I got there. What you're looking at now is the Earth map showing, oh, we were anyway, showing all the storms there. Cyclone Pam still far and away the most active, the most significant rather, the most intense.
Or a monster as you described it.
Well, I did yesterday, and it
Yeah.
was.
Mm.
We don't really exaggerate here.
Yeah. But it was.
Quite often we say it as it is, and you know, I was saying yesterday I didn't want to sound an alarm or anything, but Vanuatu may have seen some places with total destruction, and that may well be true. We don't know the full extent of what has happened there just yet, and we may not know for some time, several days perhaps. Now there's a view on Cyclone Pam again, provided by Jason.
I'll see if I can find any new news or anything.
New news.
Yeah, new news.
There's the latest floater loop from myself, showing how the storm's been progressing in the past few hours.
No, nothing new.
Are you sure?
Just a sec.
One.
Did I mention that 6 people died before?
Yeah, that is, as far as we know, confirmed from UNICEF.
Sky News is saying that 8 have been killed now.
Right. Yeah, and that death toll may well rise over the next few days, unfortunately, until we get the full extent of what's been going on. It's affected an area. I mean, Vanuatu southward, I believe. What's the population about? Well, on Port Vila, it's 44,000. Further south on those islands, I think it was 2,000 and 22,000 or something like that. So you're looking at around 70,000 people who may have experienced Category 5 conditions, just as a rough number. So if any one of those were not paying attention or did not prepare correctly, unfortunately, this may well be the tragic consequences that you see as a result of that. Which appears to have happened now for 8 people. But we'll keep you updated on this. We'll be posting social updates throughout the day once we get news as well. At least when I'm here, because I think I'll be out and about later today. But whenever I'm here at the desk, I'll be posting out updates on our social pages and also on YouTube, where we may have another update coming up later on, probably around 8:30 PM UTC. With our next live update we may do later this evening as well. Time's 12:33 here in the UK. It's 11:33 PM in Vanuatu, where people are recovering, or maybe just observing the damage first of all. Now, as soon as we get any more images on that, we'll show them to you. Obviously, the webcams that we were looking at before the storm arrived, obviously, are no longer with us by the looks of things, because we can't get the page to load. I reckon the internet's probably still down there, probably, in most places. Power, I imagine, will have been knocked out. In some places, access to water may also have been eliminated. So obviously we're speculating on just how bad it's been, but we do fear that it's been a significant event in Vanuatu. Obviously the strongest storm to strike in recent memory.
It is the second most powerful, isn't it? Zoe was first.
second most strongest storm ever in the South Pacific after Zoe. But
Yeah.
if you go by the wind speeds, we do believe that the storm was stronger than Zoe in terms of wind speeds. But by air pressure, not quite. Zoe was 890 millibars, Pam was 896. But strength is all well and good, but the main cost comes that you could have the strongest storm in the world be harmless, and you could have one of the weakest storms in the world be a very
Yeah.
bad storm indeed.
Wind speed isn't relative to destructiveness, I believe.
Not necessarily. Obviously, the worst storms, if you had the worst storm ever make landfall, then obviously there's a problem.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always happen like that. But in this case, where Cyclone Pam making what was almost a landfall in Port Vila and the islands further south as a Category 5 storm with 165 mile per hour winds, gusting to over 200. Those sort of conditions, you have a poorly constructed building, it's not going to survive. Dean can't find the link, so I'll try and post it to you on the YouTube chat.
On the comments, you can't post links on there, it won't let you. So you might have to find another way to do it.
I just did.
Where? I didn't.
Just take the HTTP out.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh well. Maybe I could try posting that wind thing. No, Jason had before
Wind
showing
thing.
all the.
Yeah, the Earth map.
Yeah,
He's still got it up and loaded.
I can't remember what the link is though.
Yeah, he's still got it up.
Could you send it to me, please, Jason? I'll put that in the YouTube chat so people can access it.
So there it is.
Yeah.
It also has other views on there as well, doesn't it, Jason? What other views do we have available? Like, doesn't it have sea surface temperatures and anomalies and all that stuff? Or any other wind-related views as well? I don't know whether there are any. Sea surface temperatures you can see on that map there, fairly warm.
It still won't let me post it.
Sea level pressure. What is it? I mean, oh, hold on. That's the total cloud water. And if you click in the center of Pam there, we can get the observations for those areas as well on these charts. So, I mean, 82 kilograms per meter squared. What does that actually mean? It certainly seems like a high number relative to the surroundings anyway. Air pressure, they're saying 965 in the eye wall. Near the center, perhaps 960. Lower than that, though, I'm pretty sure. Fiji still reporting 910.
Is there anything I could be doing? I've looked for some in latest news, but there's not much to choose from, really.
You just keep your eye on the news wire, Dan.
Okay, then.
And see if you can find any pictures anywhere. Don't forget all the social pages on. If you look around Twitter and places like that, you'll see lots of stuff as well. But there's some various views provided by Jason of the two storms, Cyclone Pam and Tropical Storm Bavi. And let me actually load up the Western Pacific model as well to see what's going on, see what the GFS thinks of Cyclone Tropical Storm Bavi.
I found another. Sorry.
Go ahead, Dan.
I found another video, but I'm not sure if anyone would want to watch another video. It's basically the same thing as I showed before.
Yeah. Try and keep it to pictures if we can.
Yeah.
So here's the model run showing what's going on with Tropical Storm Bavi. So it says there what appears to be passing ever so slightly north of Guam, which actually reminds me of another storm last year that did something similar. I can't remember which one now, but it did pass just north of Guam, just like this one is expected to, and then weaken by the looks of things, and there won't be very much left of it by the time it reaches the Philippines, according to this model at this time. So the Philippines will probably see maybe a remnant low or tropical depression, but still, of course, that could deliver heavy rainfall, which could lead to flooding and bad conditions in general. Philippines gets hit by so many storms every year.
The houses aren't really built to withstand the winds, are they?
In some places, perhaps. Some places are better constructed than others.
Yeah.
You see, quite often you see the worst damage is further south.
Are they the poorer areas?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was, well, I can't remember what I was going to say anymore. But many storms strike the Philippines every year, and we'll be covering all the storms that form in the Western Pacific this year. Of course, we'll be doing live events all throughout this year about every storm that forms. Whenever, well, obviously we'll have more priority whenever there's a storm affecting land, because we're part-timers here, aren't we, Dan?
Yeah. We can't be here 24 hours a day.
Yeah, sadly not, but maybe one day on Force 13.
Possibly, yeah.
Maybe we'll do 24-hour updates. Can't wait to see the day. Jason's just showing us a map showing the traction intensity of all tropical storms. Now, when they say all, surely they don't mean all. As of 2007, but starting from what date? But regardless, it's a lot of storms. Colourful map. And there's a view once more of what's going on in the eastern part of our hemisphere. Showing Cyclone Pam, Tropical Storm Bavi, and the very tiny Cyclone Nathan at this point. Time here is 12:43, 11:43 p.m. in Vanuatu, and any news as we get it, we'll broadcast it. But as far as we know, UNICEF say that 6 have died, but there are rumours that that number may be up to 8, as reported by Sky, I think.
Yeah. I've found 3 additional photographs if anyone wants to see them.
Go ahead.
I'll just get them on the screen now. Just bear with me.
You see lots of dry air to the west and east of Tropical Storm Bavi there. When you're showing us some pictures, okay, so this is in Port Vila, I imagine.
Yeah, probably.
It doesn't look too bad on that first image. And there's another one. Quite difficult to see exactly what's going on that one. And there's a third, just showing. I mean, it's going to be a big cleanup operation at the very least.
I believe the second photograph was a house collapsed.
Yeah, but you see the first and the third image, they don't look as bad as one might expect. Still obviously a bad situation, and it's obviously going to be worse in other places away from Port Vila, which I'm guessing is where all of these were taken from. Or at least in that very area. I'm sure we'll get some more pictures coming in the coming days showing what's going on. We'll have another live update which will show those as well in future. We don't know exactly when we'll broadcast it, but I imagine we'll be doing one late this evening and perhaps another one tomorrow evening as well. But as soon as we get more information, we'll let you know on our social mediums and wherever else. I'm just actually loading up some different pages now to see whether I can find out any more information for myself. There's Jason again showing us the storm, not too far from beginning to affect New Zealand. Quite what effects we'll see there is unknown. It will probably be transitioning or completing its transition to an extratropical cyclone. I should imagine it will deliver some strong winds, maybe hurricane force gusts at the very least, and some heavy rainfall, I'd say. Particularly on the North Island, probably not so much further south. Here's the latest imagery from the floater as well. I think there's a new frame that's coming at the end there, showing the eye still holding on. It's shrinking, so it may well disappear before long. And you know, I think at this time Vanuatu is off the grid completely still. Because I can't seem to access any websites coming out of Vanuatu at this time. Oh yes, there is one that is active actually. Vanuatu's weather website is still active at this time, but it doesn't actually tell you much information about the effects that we've seen there, only the weather forecast. But I'll try and find some information whenever I can. But you can see the storm moving there once again towards the southeast. Mostly cleared Vanuatu now, thank goodness. Almost completely free of New Caledonia as well. Daniel?
I'm just looking for any relevant videos, but the problem is I found a few and they're not really that reliable. They just feel really badly constructed.
Right.
As in some sort of effort in order to gain viewers.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, on this day, it's not only a bad day for Vanuatu, but historically, it's been a bad day for other people as well. In 2007, on March the 14th, Cyclone Inlala made landfall in Madagascar as a Category 4 storm. That killed 150 and caused $240 million of damages. Tropical Storm 2 formed in the Western Pacific in 2004. Cyclone Willie dissipated in the South Indian Ocean in 2005. Tropical Storm Joni dissipated in the South Pacific in 2009, as did Cyclone Sandra in 2013. Tropical Storm Tim that same year formed in the Coral Sea. In 2014, Tropical Storm Mike formed in the South Pacific. You may also remember Cyclone Thomas in 2010, which passed Fiji as a Category 4 storm, and that killed 3 and caused $45 million in damages. That was the next day on March the 15th.
I don't think there's really that much video footage I can show at the moment because most of them are just trees being blown about.
There's still not much information obviously coming out of the area, but
I imagine because most of the communication's down at the moment.
Well, that's as far as we can gather, but I think there is still limited service in some places.
Yeah.
It's funny that the Vanuatu's meteorological website is working, but their whole government website is not.
Hmm.
Yeah. The latest information from Fiji right now about the storm is that it's 910 millibars last time I checked. Where is it on here? This one. Yeah, the latest update. When was that from? That was from 7 a.m. So as of 6 hours ago, it was still a Category 5 on the Australian scale, but weakening, 910 millibars. Around 1 o'clock or so, we might get new information from RAMB as well to tell us what the latest intensity on the storm is. It was 155 ever since 12 p.m. when it was 165. I imagine it will be lower at 1 o'clock, at least 150, maybe down to 145. Cyclone Nathan had weakened to 50 miles per hour, and I still don't see much suggesting that it's going to intensify very much just yet. It still looks 50 miles an hour maximum, maybe lower than that. Olwyn, of course, is no longer with us effectively, so I'll close that tab. Bavi went up to 60 miles per hour earlier, and as of 12 o'clock, that's just come in. It remains at 60 miles per hour in its new position, 12.8 degrees north, 151.8 degrees east. Still 60 miles per hour. I imagine tropical storm warnings are still in effect for that area. We'll just confirm that from the latest update from Guam, which shows that a tropical storm warning is in effect for Rota, Tinian, and Saipan. A typhoon watch remains in effect for Guam, Rota, Tinian, and Saipan. Winds of 60 miles per hour, air pressure approximately 985 millibars, you'd imagine. That's probably what Japan is saying right now as well. Oh no, Japan have gone back up to 990. It was 985 earlier. They still predict intensification for a short amount of time before the storm. Oop, didn't press print. Weakens again. Where's the 5-day track forecast? Is it there? Oh, is that it? So Japan also predict the storm to go and affect the Philippines. Let's take a look at JTWC's maps on all the cyclones active. So cyclone, tropical storm Bavi, you can see it here passing just north of Guam, pretty much in agreement with the GFS model, almost right to the end until it weakens to a tropical depression just east of Luzon in the Philippines. For Nathan, you can see intensification in the next few days to a Category 2 storm on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale before curving towards the west in 5 days' time and beginning to weaken once more. I wonder how long that storm will go on for. I hope it sets a record because it's me. I want to set a record in some way.
You never know.
That was the latest from Pam. That was some time ago, though. Pam is actually located near this dot now. So it will be arriving in New Zealand in earnest, I'd say, in around 24 hours' time. And just passing to the northeast of New Zealand as it moves towards the southeast as it turns post-tropical. Let me just recap all the storms at this point. Their intensities: Pam, 155 miles per hour. That's 250 kilometers per hour at this time, with higher gusts. Cyclone Nathan, winds of 50 miles per hour. That's 80 kilometers per hour near Australia. No warnings in effect anymore. Cyclone Olwyn, what's left of it? Not much. And Tropical Storm Bavi, wind speed 60 miles per hour. That's around 105 kilometers per hour. And headed towards Guam, where we have tropical storm warnings and typhoon watches in effect.
can't find any more information. Any
That's okay.
incoming news? Yeah, breaking news.
That's okay.
Okay.
But when we do get news, we will post it on our social pages. You can follow us, Force13 on Facebook, and you can follow us at Force13 on Twitter as well. I don't know whether there are any handles or channels that you guys would like to advertise as well.
I've got a YouTube channel, but it's
Yeah,
not really storm related.
They're not storm related though.
No.
If you want a little bit of light entertainment, people in Vanuatu, Daniel can provide that to help you get through the days ahead, because of course they're going to be difficult as soon as the internet gets restored, of course. Daniel here does prank calls.
I do not.
You do?
No, yeah, I do, but yeah.
He also does gaming.
Yeah, my YouTube channel's called C-Rex. It's got a C logo.
I think you posted on our YouTube chat, didn't you?
I tried to post something, but it wouldn't let me.
Yeah, indeed.
But I'll comment as the channel on the YouTube chat so people know what it is. Yeah.
I don't know whether Jason wants to let us know about any of his channels as well, but here's the opportunity before we wrap up the show in just a few moments' time, as we look at the imagery loop of Cyclone Pam as it slowly begins to weaken but remains a very strong storm. Next stop, New Zealand for Cyclone Pam. Tropical storm Bavi, Guam, and then Mariana Islands. For Nathan, moving out to sea over the Coral Sea and may arrive back in Australia in a few days' time. Because Nathan likes Australia so much. A nice long holiday there. But in the meantime, I think I've finished with anything else that I wanted to say. Just that all of those in Vanuatu and in New Caledonia possibly as well, because conditions haven't been so great there either. As always, our thoughts are with you at this time. Obviously, there have been a number of fatalities that we're just beginning to get an idea with these preliminary reports. So it's obviously a bad situation there, and we hope for the best.
Yeah.
Daniel seconds that sentiment.
Yes, I do.
And of course, we'll have more updates and more live events. I reckon our next live event will probably be a late one this evening, I'd imagine, around 12 a.m., I'd say. That will be 11 a.m. Vanuatu time. In the meantime, I think we've said everything that needed to be said during this show. So thanks everyone for watching as always. And as I say, we'll be back. I think we'll make that a date, 12 a.m. midnight tonight UTC. That would be 11 a.m. in Vanuatu on Sunday morning. So New Zealanders, message to you now: stay safe out there, because you're next for the storm. Take all the necessary precautions, listen to all the warnings and what people tell you to do to prepare for the storm, the necessary actions that you should take, particularly along the coast of the North Island, north coast of the North Island. I reckon we'll see the worst conditions occurring there. Quite how bad remains to be seen, but I think we may well see tropical storm force winds, maybe even hurricane force in some places. That's all from us for now, though. We'll be updating throughout the day on social media and indeed on the YouTube channel. Oh yes, Dean had a question. I think I did answer it. Will our next possible storm be in the South Pacific? I reckon so.
So, goodbye.
Goodbye, Dan.
Hope everyone enjoyed it.
Yeah, indeed.
Hope it was informative.
As much as something like this could possibly be enjoyable, but yeah, certainly for the information.
Yeah.
I hope we did a good job. as I always do, because our main aim is to try and provide the best service that we can, even though it's not necessarily free flowing all of the time, but we do.
Yeah,
Our
with
best.
me.
Oh, with you, yeah. All right, time's 1 o'clock.
All right.
We'll be back later. Thanks ever so much for watching as always, and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.